Acest material e cea mai bună introducere pentru interviul care urmează, doamnelor și domnilor. Una din marile personalități americane, John Kerry, fost secretar de stat, actual reprezentant special al președintelui american Joe Biden pentru probleme climatice, a acordat un interviu Antena 3 CNN și recunoaște deschis că anul 2024 va fi mai rău decât anul 2023. Dacă vi s-a părut că anul acesta a fost insuportabil, să ne pregătim. Și spune John Kerry, nu luptăm suficient împotriva cauzelor care generează încălzirea globală și acum trăim pe pielea noastră. John Kerry pentru Antena 3 CNN. Secretary Kerry, thank you so much for having this interview for Antena 3 CNN Romania.
I'm delighted to be with you. Thank you.
2 days ago, the UN Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, said like this: the climate collapse has started, the climate is making implosion, and we cannot face the most extreme evolution of the climate right now. You are the most important person to tell us if we already touched the point of no return regarding climate change.
Well, no scientist can tell you precisely where that point is, but Secretary Guterres has been a strong and important voice in raising the alarm bell about the danger that we are at that precipice. And we are seeing terrible things happening around the world with the fires, the floods, the incredible rainfall we're experiencing, the drought, the heat, hottest year. I mean, you can run a long list. And what the Secretary General and I and others are saying is, this is our moment. We have an opportunity now to turn things around. We're making progress. We actually are seeing very exciting things begin to happen. And I was pleased, very pleased, to be able to be here in Romania, where President Iohannis has called an important meeting where people are now coming together, and the embrace here of a new initiative with respect to small modular nuclear reactors could have a profound impact on providing clean energy and important energy for industry and for all civilian activities. So I think we're beginning to break through. We need more. We're behind. We need to accelerate the process. But exciting things are beginning to happen that are positive.
2023 seems to be one of the worst years in terms of weather, climate change. We see so many droughts with so many rains, so many hurricanes, and a lot of unhappy events in Europe and United States. Do you think that next year's could be better if we try to stop whatever it's doing harm to the climate?
The answer to that, unfortunately, is that you can't turn this around that quickly. You can turn it around, but next year will be worse than this year. And this year is worse than last year. And there is a clear progression of the serious impacts of what is happening now because we've put so much of greenhouse gases up in the atmosphere. And those greenhouse gases trap the heat on the planet. And most of that heat goes into the ocean, but it has a huge impact in the rainfall that we see later. So it's all connected. And the simple answer is we have to move as fast as we can now to meet the scientific set goals. And the science has said, the scientists have told us, you need to reduce emissions, greenhouse gas emissions, by at least 45% by 2030. And then you need to hit zero, net zero, by 2050. So that's, we have some years here to move quickly. And the science also says that if we move quickly, if we begin to put clean energy in place and renewable energy in place, and we reduce our emissions, for instance, there should be no new unabated coal-fired power plants being built and licensed anywhere. Those are the steps we have to take. If we take them, we have a chance to keep 1.5 degrees alive as the limit of the warming. If we don't take those steps, then everything that Secretary General said and more could take place.
What is the most pessimistic scenario if we don't reach that goal until 2030? I mean, you've mentioned that we have to reduce the emissions with 45%. How can we do this, Secretary Kerry, if while we are speaking today, there are 22,000 flights in the air?
Sure. It's a really good question. It's a very fair question. First of all the aviation in the world is only 3% of all the emissions. And airlines are now working hard. We have a number of airlines, United Airlines, Delta, Boeing Aircraft Company, are now buying sustainable aviation fuel. Only 5% now, but that's the future. We need to have fuel that is cleaner and not carbon-based. That's happening, beginning to happen. So you say, how can we do this? We can do it because we do have technologies. Wind capacity is now 50% cheaper than it was a few years ago. Solar is 80% cheaper than it was a few years ago. And countries are finding that they can deploy renewable energy and clean energy, which is nuclear or other kinds, hydrogen, other things. That energy can provide us with clean lighting, clean transportation. So yes, we can do it if we have the willpower, if we make the decisions to embrace this big new future. But let me just say to everybody, we shouldn't be scared of this. We've had transitions in our economies before. Go back to the Industrial Revolution. This transition will be bigger and better for our economy than the Industrial Revolution. It will make life cleaner because we reduce the particulates, the dirt, the pollution in the atmosphere. We lose 8 million people a year now to the quality of the air. That's crazy. So we can have cleaner air, we can have cleaner water, we can have a safer security arrangement for our countries where we don't depend on other people for our energy, and we can be more prosperous than we are today. The quality of life will go up if we do the things necessary to address the climate crisis. And there are many, many jobs to be created. That's what we heard right here at the conference in Bucharest. There's an amazing amount of job creation in building this new energy future. And the sooner we get about it, we're already seeing enormous progress. I mean, in the United States, we've seen incredible number of new battery companies, hydrogen initiatives, fusion, pursuit of fusion as a power source. I'm excited about this transition, not pessimistic. And I don't think we should look for the dark side. I think we should look for the upside, the positive things. And Romania is a leader now in creating small modular nuclear reactors and could be a leader for the whole region in accelerating this transition. I was impressed by the presidents of the various countries and prime ministers who came here to Bucharest for a conference in which they're all agreeing we must move faster, we must move in this new direction. So I think we're at the cusp of something that doesn't have to be dark and menacing, but could really be exciting for the future we create for ourselves and future generations.
The small modular nuclear reactors brings Romania on a position as a pioneer in Europe for such a technology. Is this nuclear technology clean? Is this a possibility to strengthen the transatlantic relation between the United States and Europe through the example that Romania gives with this new nuclear technology?
Well, absolutely, it can be an incredible bonding of interests between Central Eastern Europe and the rest of Europe and the United States, no question about it. I say that because the EU and the United States and some other countries in the largest economies of the world are moving together now to embrace alternative renewable energy, clean energy, nuclear. We're building in the United States. We're using the same technology that is available now to Romania for the NuScale plant that is being built here. And we are, in addition to that, building another nuclear plant. We have decided, yes, it can be safe, it can be non-proliferation, it can be proliferation proof, and it can use its waste in different ways from prior plants. So this is a whole new world, a whole new generation of nuclear power. We've had ships in the United States Navy that for years, since the late 1950s, have been propelled by small nuclear reactors. We have 160, I think, or so, and some 200 reactors. Never lost a sailor. We've never had an accident. We've never had a spill. So I believe, and many people believe, obviously, that we can have a very safe, small, modular. What does that mean, modular? It means that they're going to be built standardized. They're going to all be built with the same safety standard, with the same capacity, and they could be smaller and usable in different kinds of activities. You could use them, for instance, to propel desalinization along the ocean, or you could use them for industry to provide green steel, which requires an enormous amount of heat, and you can't get that enormous heat from some other sources. So that's what's exciting about this. Yes, it is clean. Yes, it has the ability to be able to reduce the emissions as a result, and yes, it has ability to provide us with a real answer to the climate crisis, but not unless we make the decision to rapidly accelerate the building, the deployment, and additional technologies that will be helpful, like the green hydrogen, or better battery storage, or better storage of a different kind, or direct carbon capture. I mean, I'm seeing things now that really excite my imagination. And if I was an entrepreneur out there, there are just so many opportunities for providing people with products that people want and need.
Secretary Kerry, this illegal and brutal war launched by Russia brings so many problems in terms of fires, explosions. We see the dolphins in the Black Sea dying in a huge amount. We see the Danube Delta, which is a very special place in Europe and for the whole environment of the world, attacked and hit by the bombs. This war is also destroying our natural environment. Mm-hmm. What is your message when you are looking to do this effect of the war?
Well, I have been asked by the government of Ukraine to take part in a committee or an effort to assess the environmental damage of the war. And clearly there is enormous damage. I mean, there's horrendous brutality, and it is not just illegal and unprovoked, it is criminal, some of what is happening. And so there will be huge violations, obviously, of possibilities of the future because of this destruction to the environment. But I know that the region is already, and we are already in conversations with people for the day when this war can end, and the rebuilding will start and take place without interruption. I mean, they're already rebuilding, but there's constant war. You have to really applaud the courage and the tenacity of the people of Ukraine for what they're doing in this circumstance. But you can build Ukraine cleaner and stronger also. The opportunities will be enormous for Ukraine because there'll be money coming in, there'll be huge reconstruction. That reconstruction can be done in ways that respect the environment and deal with the problem of the climate crisis. So even Ukraine, in all the horror that exists today, if there comes a day, someday soon, we all hope, when the war can end, the opportunities to rebuild will be just gigantic, and Ukraine can come out strong and as an example to the world about what can be done to create this new economy.
Secretary Kerry, thank you so much for this interview for Antena 3 CNN Romania.
My pleasure, thank you.